76% of black adults say black public officials are singled out to be discredited in a way that doesn't happen to white public officials. 76% say police today do very little to stop guns and drugs from flooding black communities. 74% say black people are more likely than white people to be incarcerated because prisons want to make money on the backs of black people. 67% of black Americans say businesses target marketing of luxury products to black people in order to put them in debt. 55% of black adults say secret and non-consensual medical experiments, like the Tuskegee study, are still happening to black people today. 55% of black adults say the government encourages single motherhood and the elimination of black men from black families. 51% of black adults say the government promotes birth control and abortion to reduce the size of the black population, and that this is happening today. Race in America is a serious conversation, and Republicans tend to fall short. Either they deny racism is real, or they parade their favorite black Republicans on conservative media to deny its existence and to defend the white status quo. 63% of black Republicans, according to this Pew Research Center focus group study, believe that the system was designed to hold them down. I highlight this opinion because conservative media only allows black conservatives on their networks to say the opposite. They make it seem like we live in a post-racial bubble that isn't real yet for a majority of black America. The left is effective in exploiting this issue because they're putting salt on a wound that actually does exist, regardless of right-wing denial. That doesn't mean, however, that we can't address these issues if we acknowledge them instead. With this in mind, there are some basic do's and don'ts that we'll go over that I hope will help you have a positive conversation with voters and members of your community. So let's start with the don'ts, which are based on my personal and professional experiences with political candidates. First, don't say I have a black friend. Having one black friend doesn't get you a racism exemption. That's like saying you can't be sexist because you have a mom. We know the only dark face you see regularly is probably cleaning your house, carrying your golf clubs, or handing you your valet ticket, which you didn't want to give over in the first place because you were afraid your car was going to get stolen. Don't have an illegal immigrant working in your house. If you want to talk about law and order, maybe start by not hiring someone under the table. But let's be honest, you hire the immigrant because white people be stealing. But you can get a legal immigrant to do work in your house for just a few dollars more, so save yourself the PR nightmare. Don't say anything positive about Hitler. I know this should be obvious, but somehow every election cycle, rogue Republican thinks they can reframe Hitler. He had some issues, his ideas were misunderstood, or he didn't kill that many Jews. Please don't do it. If people clap for that, you're speaking to the wrong group. Please don't bring those people into our party anymore. Don't have campaign volunteers with swastika tattoos. So let's be a little leery of campaign volunteers with the Aryan ink. And for the love of all things holy, don't ask your black staffer to train them. Running a campaign is not a diversity seminar at an Aryan biker rally. Don't use race-blind arguments that only work for white guys. Saying I don't see color doesn't make you seem woke. It just makes people assume you're bad at describing suspects to the police. A little acknowledgement of reality goes a long way. I can't tell you how many times I've heard the I love all colors speech from a white person. It's so annoying that I've given this purple people speech a name and tried to banish it with voodoo spells. It has not worked. I've heard it last weekend. Again, please just stop. Don't bring up black on black crime to dodge the topic. Suggesting it's okay for cops to kill black people by arguing that nobody complains about black on black crime is stupid. Yes, certain communities and certain economic conditions are more predisposed to violence, but if we're going to be a post-racial party, we have to recognize those underlying causes of these crimes, none of which are race-related, but related to government policies. Anyways, this is a typical bait and switch tactic used by white conservatives who don't want to confront the very real problem of state-sanctioned violence and bad government policies that create both of these scenarios. Don't use the good old days as a talking point. If you say things were better in the 50s, just know that we all hear things were better when you niggers sat in the back of the bus. Regardless of how well intended, reminiscing of a simpler time when women were chained to their kitchens and Negroes knew their place, highlight instead the traditional values like free speech or free guns instead. Talk about Thomas Paine's common sense and John Adams' fiery speeches to ignite the revolutionary fervor that's been lost to bureaucracy and the industrialization of man. Now let's talk about what to do. Let's talk about solving real issues in Black America without the noise or the nonsense. Black communities face serious challenges, and as Republicans, we need to offer real solutions if we want to be taken seriously. So let's break this down step by step. Do talk about education. Too many Black students are stuck in underperforming schools because of limited options. The solution? Expand school choice. Let's give parents the power to choose the best schools for their kids, whether that's private, charter, or even homeschooling. Competition works. Just look at Chick-fil-A versus government lunch programs. Better schools mean better futures. Do talk about economic disparities in Black communities that limit opportunities and hinder growth. Here's where opportunity zones come in. These zones encourage investment in underserved areas. Let's supercharge them with tax incentives to attract businesses, create jobs, and boost local economies. It's like planting seeds in fertile soil, and we can just watch the prosperity grow. Do talk about criminal justice reform. Black communities are still disproportionately affected by certain policies, but we've made real progress. Under President Trump, Republicans led the way with the First Step Act, a historic reform that reduced mandatory minimum sentences, expanded rehabilitation programs, and gave thousands of nonviolent offenders a second chance. That's a big win, but we're not done yet. We do need to talk about next steps in this by expanding rehabilitation programs, ensuring fair sentencing in the future, and helping former offenders reintegrate into society with job training and support. Imagine a community center where former inmates are learning new skills and getting back on their feet. That's the kind of progress we need. Safer communities and second chances. That's how we build a better future for everyone. Do talk about the importance of family and community. Government policies have weakened Black families and community institutions. The solution? Support faith-based and community-driven initiatives. The Black church and local organizations have done more for their communities than any government program ever could. Let's empower them to keep them doing that vital work. Finally, let's lead with solutions, not just complaints. If Republicans show up with real solutions, better schools, more jobs, safer communities, and stronger families, we won't need to convince Black voters. The results will speak for themselves. Let's prove that conservative policies work. And if we do that, maybe, just maybe, the left's characterization of us as out of touch with non-white communities won't stick the next time elections come around. Good luck on the campaign.